Hey everyone, I'm going to do a video showing you how I do my pencil cup with Crystalac products. So it'll be broken up into a couple different segments. So this first one will be basically showing you how to tape it off, and then I'm going to paint it, and then I'll come back once it dries and we'll glitter it. So I'm going to get started. So I have a few different sizes of tape. So I have some painter's tape. I think this is 1 inch. This is just some washi tape. It's thinner than the one. It's probably like 1/2 inch, I guess, maybe 3/4 of an inch. And then from my silhouette, I printed some zigzags, and so I'm going to put it on the cup so I can tape everything off and paint it so I have good lines. So for I like for the eraser to be the top of my cup, and so I'm going to take that off first. I'm going to use this thinner tape, and I'm going to, you can take it down as far as you want. I like for there to be a little more pink than there is the silver, so I'm taping it off about that much. And just pull it tight all the way around. That way the tapes meet up perfectly back in the center. And then you just tear that off. Pencil cups are a whole lot easier on a straight cup and not a flared out cup. So if you're doing a pencil for the first time, get a straight cup. And that way you don't have to worry about it. Alright, so once you get your tape on, just make sure all the edges are pressed down really, really good so you don't have any bleeding underneath the paint or underneath the tape. Alright, so now I'm going to do, trying to think, I'm going to use the zigzag next. Let's see. Okay. I had to take a break there for a second because my zigzag wasn't working. And I was actually having a brain fart on, do I have these upside down or not? So I had to go back and look at a picture. So anyways, I have my zigzag around now, and there's a spot right here that I'm missing. So I ended up cutting this last triangle off because it would come up and then overlap really close to this one. So instead of it overlapping really close, I decided to cut it, and now I can place it right in the center, just like this. Hope I can do this backwards. I'm just gonna put it right in the center, so that way it lines up a little bit better. I know these zigzags are gonna be a little bit closer than the other zigzags, but I'm okay with that. To me, that will look better than it being a zigzag peak over here, if that makes sense. So, okay, so now I'm going to take some tape, and I'm just going to run a real thin line around the bottom edge of that, just to make it straight. And I think for that, I will just use this thin tape again. And I'm going to just go around the edges. I know I don't have the best camera angle for this, but let's see. Actually, instead of doing that all the way around, I have another peak here. I'm just going to put it, basically I just needed to cover this weird spot right here up. So I'm going to cover that up with another little peak that I have here. Okay, so now I have a straight line all the way around on the bottom. So I'm not going to add any more tape. This way it gives me a straight line for the black for my ink, and then I'll do my yellow, and then I'll do my pink. Okay, I'm back. Schwann's man pulled up, so I had to go out there and grab my food, and hopefully I can finish this video now. Alright, so I have it taped off. I have the 3/4 of an inch tape at the top. So this here will be my pink for my eraser. Where this tape is will be my silver for the little silver bracket. This big piece will be yellow. These zigzags will be gold, and the bottom will be black. So now we're going to start painting. And I'm going to use mostly the Flippin' Awesome paints. I think I want to use one of the pigments because it's brown. And before I get started, I'm just going to go around and make sure everything is pressed down really well. If I have a little bit of bleeding, that's fine because it's just going to bleed underneath these, which I'm going to paint over anyways once I take these off. So I'm going to start with the pink, and I will use the back of this. Okay. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this. This is the Coral Crush from the Flippin' Awesome line, and I'm going to just put a little bit on. I have a piece of paper down here. So far this cup has been sanded already, washed, and then I added one layer of universal white, and that's all I did to it. I've gotten to where the universal white is, I just prime all of my cups with the universal white no matter what I do to it. Okay, so I'm just going to keep painting. I'll do the yellow, so that way I can still set my cup down. I'll do the black last. This is the spicy mustard from Flippin' Awesome. Okay, my Flippin' Awesome colors are dry, and I'm going to add the glitter. So I'm going to use the Extreme Protection to apply my glitter, and I'm going to use, I actually purchased a glitter pack from Glitter Craze a while back, but I have figured out some other colors that I prefer better. So I'm going to use a mixture of glitters from different places. So for my eraser here, I'm going to use a Glitter Craze Bubblegum, which is this here. And I'm going to just apply the Extreme Protection directly to the cup. Just like so, and this is a pretty thin strip, so I probably won't have to add more. I can probably get that little pea size amount all the way around. My tape is still on here. I won't take that off until I get all of these glitter colors on. So just make sure your glitter or your Extreme Protection or your Bright Tone, whichever you prefer, get it all the way around. Make sure everything's wet, and then we're going to add our glitter. Knock it off just like that. And there we have it. We have a eraser. I think that Coral Flippin' Awesome color and this bubblegum color work really well together to make the perfect eraser color, actually. So I'm going to pour the rest of this in. I'm going to switch over to yellow with a new piece of paper. Alrighty, so for yellow, I'm going to be using, it's called Neon Yellow, and it's Recollections, which is from Michaels. So again, just apply your extreme protection or bright tone, whichever you plan to use. Trying not to get it on any of the other colors. Alright, so I'm going to just make sure I don't have this dripping. I want it to be pretty thin. Making sure I get all these peaks in here, up in the corners really well. And I'm going to brush off my brush as I go through because I don't want any excess on here. I'm trying to get it a pretty even coat because I only want to have to do one coat. Oh my goodness, I need a bigger piece of paper. Alright, I'm going to have to dump this back into my jar. Trying to move quickly so my coat doesn't dry before I get glitter on here. So I'm just doing that so excess falls off. And there we have the yellow and the pink. All right. I made a big old mess with that. I got a chunky purple in there from somewhere. Alright, so now we're going to do black. And for the black, I'm going to use the Onyx. And this one came from Walmart. To me, this is the shiniest black I've ever used, so I prefer it over other brands because it keeps its shine. And since this isn't on a turner, that's why I'm going pretty thin with this. Since it's not on a turner, it's not getting the opportunity to spin and level out. So that's why I want it to be on here pretty thin. Just thin enough for it to, the glitter to adhere to. We don't want any runs or anything of that sort. Make sure you get around the bottom really well. Alrighty. I'm going to do the bottom first, spinning as I go, just to be sure I get all those nooks and crannies. And now I'm just going to tilt my cup and pour towards the top of the line, and it'll just fall down. I just don't want any of this black getting into my yellow, because I have done that before, and trust me, you don't want to do that. Get along the edge. Okay, so there's my black. So now I'm going to set this. Okay, so this is still wet. I just finished adding the black glitter, and now I'm going to remove the tape. Just so I don't want it to dry, and whenever you pull the tape up after it dries, it could potentially pull up your coats. So I'm going to pull it up now, which is just gotta find the edge and pull it up slowly. And I have a piece of paper underneath here to catch any of the tape that falls. And this is okay, so now we have a white line there, which is where our silver will go. Alright, so I'm going to take off the zigzag edge. It's pulling up my universal white just a little bit in a couple of spots, but that's okay, because I'm just going to paint over it anyways. And this is my least favorite part because glitter just kind of flies everywhere. Okay, so now we have the white edge up here and the white zigzag down here. So now I'm just going to leave this to let it dry for a little while, and then I'll come back and I will do the zigzag in this portion here. Okay, so this glitter has been sitting or drying for about 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add my paint to here and to the zigzag, so that way it can all just kind of dry together, and then I can come back later and do the glitter on these. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint these. I'm gonna do the silver first, which I'll be using the Grunge Grage from the Flippin' Awesome line. Whoa! It is spewing out of there. Okay. So I have a pretty thin brush. I'm just going to carefully go around and paint this line through here. Trying not to get any of it on my glitter. I'll probably speed this up a little bit because this will take me a little bit longer since I am trying to be very precise. Okay, so now I'm going to do the zigzag, and I am going to use the brown, the number 6 from the pigments, and I'm going to use a smaller brush because I have to get into these little areas. And I just have a piece of paper. Actually, it's a piece of vinyl. I'm using the back of it as my paint holder. Again, I'll probably speed this up because this is going to take even longer. Alrighty, it is time to do the silver and the gold glitter. So I just put a little bit of extreme protection in this medicine cup so I can control it better, and I can just dip my brush into here. And so I just have a thin brush again, and we'll just go right around here, being careful to not get it on the other colors and getting it up to the edge as close as possible without going over the edge. Also being careful not to add too much. Since it's not on the turner, it's not going to spin and level out. So just put it on there pretty thin. Okay, I think I got it all. This glitter is just the cheap little thing from Walmart, and it's silver. Okay, so there's our silver glitter. Extreme protection on this zigzag piece will probably take a minute. So instead of doing it all the way around, I'm just going to do it by section. So I'll do one little peak at a time. And I may speed this up after I show you the first one. Okay, this one I'm going to use, it's a glitter craze called Old Gold. Just dump it on, tap it off. Alright, so I'm going to work on those and then I will speed it up here. Okay, so it's done now, and that's it. So now, once this dries completely, I will seal the dickens out of it. Seal, seal, seal. That is how you're going to keep your glitters out of the other glitters. So be sure to seal. A non-toxic option would be to use the E6000 spray, like this, non-toxic. Or if you have all the time in the world like I do, you can use the Rust-Oleum Clear Spray, whatever your preference is. So I will seal this and then I will go over that with the bright tone, and then I will post the picture once it's finished.